sit alert. And notice that when you are alert, the mind is silent. Worth noticing, the mind is active only when you are not alert. Which means, when the mind is active, you are lost in the flow. Whereas, when you are alert, the mind becomes silent. And now you are fully aware. Alert, same as fully aware. Be aware of the surroundings. You can, even without opening the eyes. Just be aware of the space around, in the hall, the chairs and people. Be aware of the space in the hall. Be aware of the outer space, the sky. You can. Even while sitting here, you can be aware of the outer space, the sky. It means the space comes to light, becomes evident, meaning comes to light. In the light of your awareness. Worth noting, the space which you cannot perceive comes to light, meaning becomes evident in the light of my awareness. Then I am aware of the body. Better not to say my body, just the body. That is enough. If you say, I am aware of my body, you have unnecessarily introduced the identification there. So without identification, I am aware of this body. The body or this body. Meaning, the body now comes to light, comes into light. Meaning becomes evident. In the light of awareness. You visualize a miner in a coal mine with a headlamp. In whichever direction the miner turns, the things in that direction come to light. Now, I am like that miner. On whichever thing I focus the awareness, the light of awareness, that thing becomes evident. I am that light of awareness. And at present, this body comes to light in the light of awareness. Now I am aware of the legs, which are an organ of action, of walking. I am aware of the hands, another organ of action, of holding things. I am aware of the organ of speech, throat, mouth, etc., including the nose. I am aware of the organ of speech. Put together, I am aware of all actions in the body. I am aware of all the actions like walking, holding things, or speaking happening in this body through respective organs of action. Now I am aware of the eyesight, which is suspended at present. I am also aware of the faculty of hearing, that of picking up smells. I am aware of the taste buds on the tongue. Of the nostrils, which pick up any smell. I am aware of the skin from toes to the head, which is the organ of the sense of touch. In fact, I am aware of the dress clothes through this organ of the sense of touch. Tvak. Put together, I am aware of these sensations. Shabda, sparsha, touch, rupa, the forms, as and when the eyes are open. Rasa, tastes, and gandha, the smells. I am aware of these sense objects and also the sense organs. They come to light in the light of my awareness. You reserve my only to awareness, to nothing else. Then I am aware of the thoughts, whatever thoughts that are around. Even when there are no thoughts, does not matter. I am aware of the thought process, the inner organ, which constantly moves during the waking state. Then I am aware of the intellect, primarily the brain cells, which store all knowledge and also the past experiences as impressions. I am aware of the intellect located in the brain cells. Then I am aware of the sense of me and mine, again located exclusively in the brain cells. Me and mine. My house, my property, etc. And the me, the person, the doer. I am aware of this person in the head. Finally, I am aware of my own being in the heart. I am in the heart. The innermost experience, I am, in the heart, comes to light in the light of my awareness. I am. Which means I am, and I know that I am. I be, and I know that I be. And I love to be the being. Sit at ease. And open the eyes slowly. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Shruti Smriti Purananamalayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpada Shankaram Lokashankaram. I finished the prayer before you settle down. Now we may say the verse one time. Antah karana vrittischa chitichhayaikyamagata vasanah kalpayet swapne. That is one sentence which we finished. Bodhe kshair vishayan bahihi. That is the second sentence. Second sentence means you have to construct the sentence. You take out swapne and put bodhe. That becomes the second sentence. Let us make the sentence bodhe antahkarana vrittischa chitichhayaikyamagata akshaihi bahihi vishayan kalpayet. That is the sentence. Okay? So it is again antahkarana vrittihi, the mind stuff and its movement. Antahkarana is the inner organ, which is the mind stuff. And vrittihi is movement. Vritti vartane, movement. And it is the inner organ and it is moves. It is the fan and it fans. You got it? It is the fan and it fans. It is the mic and it makes sounds. Similarly, it is the inner organ and it moves. That is the antahkarana vrittihi, karmadhare samasa. And then by itself it cannot become evident. Because it is, I am just giving a small recap. Because it is opaque, like an opaque object it is, jada. It cannot become evident by itself. So the light of awareness, which we are talking about in the meditation, which is you, that inner light, that reflects in that mind stuff. The mind stuff, it catches the reflection. That is its glory. Suppose it fails to catch the reflection also, then it cannot even become evident, even in the light of awareness. But fortunately, the mind stuff catches the reflection of the inner light of awareness because the mind stuff is very subtle. Very subtle. Body cannot do. That's why body comes to light only in the mind. And when the mind is sleeping, you are not aware of the body. Therefore, the mind is subtle and it catches the reflection of that Atma, the light of awareness, which is the Chiti Chaya. Chaya, reflection of the Atma, the awareness, Chiti, Aikyam. As it catches the reflection, it becomes identified with it. Having arrived there, up to that it is same as like Swapne. But now we are talking of Bodhe, in the waking state. Now, what does this mind stuff do? Antahkarana vritti is the karta. We are talking, that is the karta, that is the subject of the sentence. You follow the sentence. Karta is not the doer. Subject, karta karma kriya, you know. That is what I am saying. So the mind stuff, which is in movement all the time, antahkarana vritti, it acquires that luminosity, if you will, by catching the reflection of the inner light of awareness. Now, what it does, kalpayet, it imagines. Now, come on, in dream state it imagines, we understand. But bodhe also it imagines. Yeah, you are in a Vedanta class. That's why you are in a Vedanta class. In the bodha is the waking state, jagrata. In that also, the mind stuff, it continues its process of movement, which is nothing but imagination. You see, please be prepared to hear a few ludicrous statements, not ludicrous really, ludicrous sounding statements. For example, you do not know how to see, only you know how to imagine. If you know how to see, you become a seer. The rishi ho jata hai. But we do not know how to see, but we only imagine. That's why we remain samsaris. You see, do you know to see the Atma in the other person? Do you know? Eshata Atma Sarvantaraha, the same Atma in all. Do you know to see the Atma in the other person? No. You know only to see the intrigue, the clique, such things in the other person. That's why we remain samsaris. You understand? Therefore, the mind stuff, it does the same thing in dream as well as in the waking state. It doesn't do a different thing in the waking state. Then what is the difference between swapna and bodha? Akshaihi. That is the only difference. Even bahihi is not difference, because in the dream state also, whatever you see during the dream, you see outside of you in the dream. When you come out of the dream, you say, oh, I have seen all those things in myself. But during the dream, there is no difference between waking state and the dream state. During the dream, you know, oh, I am now dreaming. Do you know like that? No. You look at it as same as real, as if it is the waking state. Therefore, bahihi is common for swapna and bodha. Only one thing is different. Now, you may pay attention to this discussion. This is called swapna viveka. So, it is my habit to exhort that way, okay? So, now I am saying that there is no difference between dream state and the waking state. Did you notice that? So, why? In dream, you imagine all kinds of things, kalpayet. And in waking, you believe that you see things, you know things. But I am saying, in the waking, you are no better, you still imagine. So, we have a Telugu proverb, Avu chelo meste, doda koda chelo ne mestundi. When the cow is grazing in the field, the calf also grazes in the field only, not elsewhere. Both do the same thing. This antahkarana vritti is something like that. It imagines in the dream state, and that statement sounds very fine to you, but I am saying it continues to do the same thing, namely imagining things outside in the waking state also. Then what is the difference? What is the difference? Why should we count them as 1, 2, and then sleep comes 3? What is this count? Why 2? Because in the dream state, akshaihi is not there. In the waking state, akshaihi comes. That is the only difference. Vishayan bahihi is also, that also applies to the dream. In the dream, you see things without eyes. Right? The eyes are not there in the dream. Means mind becomes the eyes and sees the forms which the mind itself has become. Did you notice that? Therefore, it is all the game of the mind. In the dream, mind is the eyes, mind is the mind is the forms that the mind sees through the eyes, mind listens to the sounds, which are mind itself, with the ears, which are mind itself. Did you notice that? Therefore, there are no ears in the dream. There is no skin in the dream. But sense of touch is there. In the dream also you get a sense of touch. And that means mind alone is functioning as the mind, the cognitive mind, as the sense organs, and also as the sense objects. All the jobs it is doing. It is playing the game of solo. Solo game, you know, like that. Sometimes people, they sing. They say bathroom, they say. Need not be bathroom, even outside also. They sing to themselves. Normally singers sing for others, but sometimes the singer, the person sings for himself. Similarly, the mind is doing all that in the waking state, in the dream state. But in the waking state, the mind need not become the eyes, because now it has the eyes added to the mind. Akshaihi. The means of seeing, that is the eyes, the means of hearing, the organ of hearing, the ears. So these 5 organs, their functions are now available to the mind. Mind is better equipped for its imagination. That's why your imaginations in the dream are very minor, whereas your imaginations in the waking state are overwhelming, what you call life. Okay? Here you have to see Vishayan kalpayet, imagines the sense objects. Vishaya are the sense objects. Sense objects are 5. The touch, the forms and colors, the smells, the tastes, and the sounds. I did not put in the sequence. Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. These are the 5 sense organs. Now here Shankara is saying they are imagined. Means they are not really there. And also they are imagined bahihi, outside, in the waking state. Now I am talking about waking state. That means they are imagined outside, means they are not outside. They are not outside. They are in you. You see, you listen to the music. Let us say you enjoy the music, let us say. You are enjoying the music. The music that you are enjoying, where is it? You think it is outside. It is not outside. It is in you. The music, suppose your ears are plugged, then outside music cannot do anything to you. The outside there is no music. Outside there is no sound. That's why I told you, pay attention. There is no sound outside. There are only vibrations outside. When you take an instrument, violin, and you scratch it with a thing, so the the strings vibrate, and you can measure the vibrations also. How many vibrations per second? You can measure. Only that is there outside. And they produce sympathetic vibrations in the atmosphere, in the air. In the air they produce sympathetic vibrations. And that is all outside is there. Nothing else is there outside. And those vibrations come and touch the eardrum. Vibrations only. And then the eardrum starts vibrating. That there also you don't have sound. Only vibration of the eardrum. Behind the eardrum, in a small column, tiny column, there is a fluid, and that fluid vibrates. Like you put some stone into the water, water vibrates. Like that, the column of fluid behind the eardrum, that fluid vibrates. And then there are nerve endings dipping into that fluid. You see, my anatomy is not perfect, okay? Please don't catch my nose if my anatomy is not 100%. Generally, general spirit you take. The nerve endings are sitting, dipping into that fluid behind the eardrum. And as the fluid moves, vibrates, vibration of the fluid means it is compressed and then it becomes loose. Compressed, loose, compressed, loose. That produces electricity. It is called piezoelectricity. You can do it outside also. Take a crystal and put electrodes and compress the crystal and release. Compress, release. You get electricity. Yeah, physics. That's why I always maintain that the Vedanta students should learn a little physics. Otherwise, their knowledge remains a kind of a hearsay. They heard and they repeat what they heard. Bas itna hi baat hai. So that becomes, they are like a tape recorder. Now that is a small digression. Therefore, the electricity is produced alternating current. It is not a uniform current. Alternating current is produced as that fluid vibrates. And that current, there is no sound yet. Now vibrations are transformed into alternating current, electricity. And that reaches a center in the brain. And there the brain receives these sensations. They are called sensations, electrical sensations, or electrical pulses, if you will, which are called sensations. And those sensations, millions of them, millions of sensations. Did you hear anything called Fourier transformation? Such a thing happens in the brain. It integrates all these sensations, multiple, countless sensations it integrates. And so in mathematics you must have had a topic called integration in calculus. Exactly the same thing happens in the brain center, and you get a spike which corresponds to the idea of sound. Now it is sound. Till now there is no sound, only vibrations and electric current. Therefore sound is not outside, sound is inside. You perceive your own sound sensation. You perceive your own optical sensation. Are you on the same page as the speaker? Now, a Zen master's saying, I tell you. A Zen master said, in the forest where there is no human being around, a tree has fallen. Will there be the sound of tree breaking and falling? That is the question. Now, you try to answer that question? No. No is the answer, because there is no human being around. There are vibrations only. Therefore, what you call Shabda is not outside, it is in you. But you imagine that it is outside. Bahihi kalpayet. Okay? You see, by the time I am done with this verse, your waking state will be totally demolished. Nothing is left of that. It becomes like a dream. We are dreaming a dream which we call life. Because Shabda is not outside, Shabda is in you. But you see, you imagine it is outside. Like in dream. In dream, the mountain is in you. The music, suppose in dream you attended a music concert. All that music which you have enjoyed in the dream is inside you. It is not outside you. But you imagine as though it is outside in the dream. Same thing you do in the waking state. Even sparsha is like that. You see, you never ever touch the table in your lifetime. You cannot touch, because there is always a thin layer of air in between. And you cannot compress that air to zero density, to zero thickness. No, not possible. There are van der Waals forces which prevent it. There is always a thin layer of air or space between the hand and the table. Then what is the sense of touch you get? So those van der Waals forces produce some pressure on the hand, which get translated into electrical currents, which are transformed to the brain center, now the sense of touch center. And they are integrated, and you get a sense of touch, hard, smooth, and variations in that hardness and smoothness, hot, cold, variations there. Every sensation of touch is in you. Therefore, you do not perceive the sound outside. You perceive only the sensation of sound within you, the sensation of touch in you, the sensation of forms and colors in you. You see, there was a great scientist in Paris, Schrödinger, the famous wave equation you must be knowing. Schrödinger, he was working on light. And generally, all people who work on light, they use the standard monochromatic yellow light. Monochromatic means one single wavelength. That light they use, it is yellow. That is the standard light in all experiments. Okay? And now he used that light for many years of experiments, and he has done a lot of great discoveries and all that. So one day he was saying, till even today, I do not know where is this yellow color. Everybody thinks it is outside in that bulb. No, it is not there in the outside in the bulb. What comes out of the bulb is a light of a particular wavelength. Light is also electromagnetic radiation with a particular wavelength, a fixed wavelength. That is all that is there. That falls on the retina, and now and the retina doesn't know anything about yellow. Retina produces optical sensations. There are cells which are in the shape of rods and cones on the retina or behind the retina, whatever, and so they produce electrical sensations. And the yellow is in the head, not outside. Yellow is in the head. So, all Vishayas are in you. Nothing is outside, even in the waking state. That's why waking state is as same. Now you don't have an expression like as same as. You don't drop one as. The waking state is same as the dream state in every respect, except the participation of the five sense organs. For that single reason, we count waking state as number 2. First swapna, then waking state. That is the only difference. So now you understand that. So we can now conclude, like dream experiences, the waking experiences also are mere thought movement of the mind stuff. You can understand that? Therefore, what all you experience in the waking state, a variety of experiences, happiness, sorrow, fear, jealousy, envy, anger, hatred, compassion, love. Love is not an experience of that nature, attachment. But what people call it love. You see, people call lust as love, and they call attachment as love. And that's why they remain not knowing what is true love. That is how it happens. You see, when you live with the religion of the masses, you will never come to know the true religion. So it happens like that. Therefore, when we take lust and attachment, attachment is another name for psychological dependence. That is what attachment is. And that is all what people know. And so take lust and psychological dependence as love, and then the real love goes a-begging. We will never be able to catch it. Love is Ananda, it is. And love is Brahma. So, love is God. Did you not hear that? Love is God. Prema is Brahma. So, Ananda is love. Okay? Therefore, you have to understand the waking state is as unreal as the dream state, which means you have to realize that you are moving from dream to dream. Because waking is also a dream. You cannot say waking is real, dream is unreal. You may say like that and get away with it. But really speaking, however much you are convinced of the truth of your waking state, you do not claim the waking state to be permanent and changeless. Right? You feel that, you means not you generally, that is the way I speak or anybody speaks. People are convinced that the waking state is true. Even however much you may be convinced, can you claim that your so-called true waking state is changeless? Can you claim that? Can you claim it as permanent? Then why do you call it true? The blessed thing is not changeless, not permanent, but you call it true. Kaisa hota hai? You see, I tell you, now you are in the waking state. A person with a name and shape. And a variety of other things follow. A shape, gender is determined by shape. Under the caste, creed, race, religion, region, everything comes from the shape only. So now you are a person with a name and shape, with joys and sorrows, the waking state. This person, which you are the person in the waking state, this person was not there before you were born. Right? In fact, the person was not there even after birth also. Up to 3, 4, 5, 6 years, the person was not there. Certainly not before birth. The person is not there, was not there. And the person will not be there after the body dies. Now this person is in between. And now, in between also, it is not the same person in the dream state. It's a different person. In one dream, I was an insect. And in another dream, I was a poet. Now, I am neither this nor that. So what is the truth? Is that real or is this real? I told you this story. So, therefore this person, now it is there only during, between birth and death. Even after birth, 4, 5 years, person is not there, but let us say, mota, the person is between birth and death. Okay? And this person, between birth and death also, in dream the person is not there, some other person is there. In sleep the person is, no person is there. Only in the waking state you experience yourself as this person. Now you want this person to become something else. What kind of a person it is? It is unreal, it is temporary, it is transient, it is just like a flash, comes and goes even during the day, and it comes with birth and goes with death, and you want that person to become something else other than what it is. The person with less artha wants to become the person with more artha. The person with less pleasures wants to become the person with more pleasures. The person with less virtue for the heaven, etc., wants to become the person with more virtue. But the person itself, वो तो गलत है, वो झूठा है ना, not real. What is this struggle? Why you become the person, identify, by identification you become the person and struggle to become something more than what it is. So, instead of struggling with the person to make it become what it is not, why not go beyond the person? You can. Going beyond the person is same as going beyond the waking state and leave the personal life altogether. You can. I was talking like this in my own characteristic way. Somebody asked, we have to live in this world. We have a family and we have a job and we have to live in this world. So can we do so if we are not the person? That was the question. And the answer is yes. In fact, your family life will be better, will be happier if you stop being, if you go beyond this silly, unreal persona. And your life in the office will be better and happier if you are not the person. Did you notice, whenever you are truly happy, you are not a person? You notice your own experience. Whenever you are terrified, let us say, you see a bear and terrified, you are not a person. And you are a person only when you are self-conscious. And during the entire waking state, you are not self-conscious continuously. There are gaps when you are not self-conscious. During those gaps, what are you? You are not a person. You are the impersonal awareness, the light of awareness. That is the light in you which you have to discover. But you become the person by identification, and then you become busy with the person's pursuits, the so-called personal life, and therefore you can never discover that inner light, which makes the person appear in the first place. Therefore, you have to understand, I am not suggesting it is the extinction of the person. That is not what it is. It is only understanding the so-called person in the right perspective. That is what we are saying. Therefore, the waking state is as unreal as the dream state. Okay? Let me catch my breath. I will show within the waking state what you consider as waking state. You take it as waking state in your understanding, but it is nothing but a dream. I will show it to you. The verse is like that. This verse is very, very profound verse. What is the difference between swapna and jagrat? Mind movement, the mind stuff moves and creates a dream. The mind stuff moves and creates the waking state. Is it all right? Now you can draw many conclusions. Suppose in the waking state, the mind is perfectly still, then you may try this. Then the waking state is no more. There is no waking state. Only the inner light will be shining, that's all. The light will be shining. It is like you take away the rotating film from before the projector light. Then there will be no scenes on the screen, but the light will be shining. You got the point? Similarly, when the mind becomes still, perfectly still, now you don't have a waking state anymore. means there is no waking person also. The entire waking state vanishes because it is put in place by the movement of the mind. And therefore, the mind moves and creates the dream state. The mind moves and creates the waking state. Then what is the difference? As far as the movement of mind is concerned, both are same. Then what is the difference? The mind moves all by itself is the dream state, and the mind moves in tandem with the five sense organs, one or more of them, is the waking state. That is the difference, right? Akshaihi is the difference. You got it? Now, suppose in the waking state, the mind moves all by itself, not in tandem with the sense organs, in the waking state. Now, you can call that a dream, right? You have heard the word daydream. Daydream is in waking state only, right? Daydream is not in dream state. Daydream is in waking state. So, that means in daydream, only the mind is moving, the sense organs are suspended, and that means the body is also suspended. Once I was daydreaming that I will sit in a flight and New York and go to Japan, Tokyo, there is a direct flight, and I was sitting in it and going. That is the daydreaming. In that daydreaming, what sense organs are there, what body is there, it is only the movement of mind, right? Right? Therefore, even during the waking state, if it is only the mind all by itself is moving, and sense organs have nothing to contribute in that movement, so that part of the waking state, you should not have any difficulty to call it dream. Right? Do you agree with me? Or do you have an objection? But then, Kabardar, if you agree with me, I tell you, I will put your entire life into the dream state. Now I ask you, a person is coming from a distance. Myself and my friend, we are standing and discussing, a person is coming. And we both saw him. We don't know who he is, a neutral person, right? Because we don't know him yet. Then he came nearer. Then he tells me, you look at him coming? Yeah, I see him. He is my enemy. That is what he said. Okay? Did you see? When the person is at a far, he is not enemy. He is some neutral guy. The person came near, now he is enemy. Now you tell me, this enemy, the enemy cognition, he cognizes the enemy. The enemy cognition, is it contributed by the eyesight and mind, or eyesight has no role to play, only mind has contributed? You tell me that. Eyesight has no role to play. Poor eyesight only shows a human being. It doesn't show enemy. It doesn't show friend also. It is the mind which perceives friend and perceives the enemy. Poor eyesight, toba. Poor eyesight, don't put the blame on the eyesight. It doesn't show friend. It doesn't show enemy. It only shows a human being. Therefore, when you say my friend, my enemy, are you awake or are you dreaming? You are dreaming. Why don't you come awake? You are willing, you should awake. Wake up. Wake up. How to wake up? Samasyatraucha mitrecha. Gita. No friend, no foe. There is only divinity in both. That is called bhakti. No friend, no foe. It is the same Atma. That is called jnanam. One and the same. They are not different. Bhakti and jnanam are not different. They are one and the same. Okay? Some people say, bhakti leads to jnanam. Now, what kind of bhakti are you talking about? The bhakti which functions in dualism, it doesn't lead to jnanam, it keeps you in samsara. And the bhakti which leads you to jnanam, it is no different from jnanam. It becomes one with jnanam. Therefore, this bhakti leads to jnanam, upasana leads to jnanam. Those statements have to be examined. They have to be cautiously examined. They are right, but at the same time they are wrong the way people take them. That's a digression. Now we have agreed, we have agreed to agree that friend-foe cognitions are dreamlike. There is no real waking in them. Do you agree with that? Real waking is when there is no friend, there is no foe, there is only divinity. That is the real waking. Are you on the same page? Take care. I have knocked off your friend and foe separation or division. Did you notice that? Not the friend and foe of the dream state. I am talking of the friend and foe of the waking state. Okay, you have given me your assent, so I take the next step. The next step is, you say my son, S-O-N son. This my son, S-O-N son, is it the mind-only cognition, or is it mind plus eyesight cognition? My only cognition it is. Eyesight doesn't tell that he is the son. Eyesight shows a human being, a teenager, and you call him son, and suffer to no end. Once you call a teenager the son, you are consumed, kharch ho jata hai, and carries the cross of the son to the grave. To the grave, they say in West, to the cremation ground, we say in the East. Very sad. The rishis knew it, and they said, Varshet shodashe prapte putram mitravadacharet. Once the boy grows up to the age of 16, you treat him as a friend. Don't call him son anymore. Because you are falling prey to your own imagination. You are dreaming. And so what you call your son, you are dreaming. When you say my son, you are dreaming. So I came from neutral person to friend foe, then came son, daughter, etc. Now just one more thing I will add, and that by the time I am done, you don't have anything worth calling a waking state, I tell you. Now you are looking at the house, dream house. They call it dream house. The blessed thing is only dream. It is not real, it is. The dream house. People are really silly, I tell you. They don't know the truth. And they don't know that they don't know the truth. That is a double ajnana, and you cannot shake that person. My God, you cannot do anything with that person. Whatever you say, they resist. You say the truth, they resist. Why should they resist? The speaker was given the dais and a mic. He speaks for an hour and goes his way. Why should you resist? What is the reason for resisting? So he is blabbering something, let him. For an hour he will blabber and then go his way. No, he says things that do not fit into our imagination, our thinking. So you want the speaker to say things that you like to hear. right? And you call it Shravanam. Very sad saga of Vedanta, with worthy exceptions here and there. Now you say my house. Forget about this my. My doesn't apply. My doesn't apply. You are just imagining. You are dreaming. It is my house. In India, to put that my qualification before house, it takes a lot of paperwork and other difficulty. You have to go through a lot of rigmarole to call it my house. Whereas in this country, with a little paperwork within the week, change the documents and change the bank money, etc., you can call it my house. So that my house, you are dreaming. When you are calling it my house, you are dreaming. It is in your head, this my-ness is there. My cognition doesn't come from the eyesight, it doesn't come from the sense organs. It comes from your head only. Therefore, the my part of the my house is a dream. My house is a dream. My property is a dream. Now anything is left in the waking state that you can call not a dream? Anything is left? Therefore, my husband is a dream. My wife, a dream. You are dreaming. And therefore, you can wake up. How to wake up? Be a loving, be the love of a father. Be the love of a father. Don't be father. Be the love of a husband. Don't be husband. Husband means what? Dominating, and that is what husband. So don't be a husband. Be the love of a husband. Be the love of a wife. Don't be the wife. Be the love of a wife. When you are the love of a wife, you are Atma, because Atma is love. But when you want to be the wife, you are a person, and a dreaming person. You are living in your dream world. People live in their dream world. They don't know what is the real world. Therefore, take this as a formula or as a theorem. Whatever is perceived by the mind, together with the help of sense organs, is waking state. And even within the waking state, as in the dream state, when the mind perceives something all by itself, without any contribution coming from the sense organs, that is called dream. Okay? Then a question is asked. You say, they say Guru Shishya. I don't say Guru Shishya, I say speaker. And the students. That is how I hope you are all students. Many people come for some curiosity sake. It is fashionable to attend a Vedanta session, and it is a social gathering occasion also. Good food is provided also. Therefore, for many reasons, they come to Vedanta course or camp. I am not suggesting that you are doing that. It is possible that way. But I am giving you, I put all of that aside. I just ignore all of that. I don't even notice whether it is there or not. I am just giving you the title, you are the students. Do you have any problem with that? No, good. You are the students. And this Swami is a speaker. That is what I am saying. But in many places, they say Guru Shishya, which is okay, which is all right. Shishya means one who is getting instructed. If you are really getting instructed, you can be called Shishya. And a Guru means a bit heavy, etc. So, leave alone. Guru Shishya, it is there. So, is this also a dream? Father, son, wife, husband, if everything is a dream, what about Guru Shishya? You know what the Acharya said? Yes, that is also a dream. Na gurur na shishya, naiva gurur na shishyaha. Even that is also a dream. Shankara, naiva gurur na shishyaha. And then Gaudapada Acharya went one step ahead and said, Upadeshadayam vadaha, jnate dvaitan na vidyate. You see, you have to wake up a person. And for the sake of waking up the person, you make some noise. Noise is not important. Waking up, the person wakes up, that is important. Right? Not the drum, the noise, the tick. Are they important? The waking up is important. So similarly, the instruction should happen. Instruction is waking up. The instruction is important. And for that reason, this vocabulary has come into human language. I am vadaha. Vadaha, boli. The boli has come. What is the boli? Vocabulary. What is that? Guruhu, shishyaha, ityadi. That is the boli. Jnate dvaitan na vidyate. Once the person wakes up, will you continue to beat the thing? No. Similarly, once the instruction happens, so the guru, shishya, divisions, etc., they just do not exist. Therefore, you see, in Advaita Vedanta, we not only dismiss all these titles, father, son, brother, sister, etc., but also we dismiss the guru, shishya titles. We don't keep them. Okay? So, we are dreaming a dream which we call waking state, which we call life, and so we have to examine this dream. That is the message. Because on the whole, we attach too much importance to the waking state. It is high time that somebody should tell you it is no more than a dream. You are just dreaming, a dream which you call waking state. People give names. They hold on to a dog and give some nice sounding name to it. It doesn't become, just because you name it something, it doesn't become something superior. It continues to be a dog only. So dog or cat, whatever. Similarly, you take a state of experience in which mind is moving and produces a series of experiences, and you call it, give it a nice sounding name, waking state. It is not a waking state. You have yet to wake up. Wake up, baki hai abhi. But the dream, we give it a name, waking state, and that doesn't become waking state. That continues to be a dream. So, on the whole, we attach too much importance to the waking state. So then what should we do? You should give at least some importance to the sleep state also. Because it is like you are amused by the rose, but you don't want to pay attention to the plant. And you are attracted by the plant, don't want to pay attention to the seed. You have to pay attention there also. Without the seed, there is no plant. And without plant, there is no flowers. There is no waking state without sleep. Sleep is the seed, and waking state is the effect, the sprout. And what is sleep? And what is the connection between the waking and the sleep states? You have to investigate that. And we don't investigate sleep at all, because we are too busy with this dream called waking state. If you investigate, a few truths will start emerging out. I will say briefly and conclude. So, waking state you can call conscious, you are conscious. But then that waking state originates from the sleep, deep sleep, which can be called unconscious, right? So the conscious originates from the unconscious. And you have to pay attention to the unconscious. The unconscious, that in which there is no perception, there is no conception, or there is no cognition, there is no mind's movement, that is the unconscious, right? Because the mind and sense organs, they don't move. It's very interesting. Mind and sense organs do not move. That is the unconscious. Mind alone moves. Sense organs do not function. Semi-conscious, which you call dream. And mind and sense organs, everything moves. That is the waking. That is how you have the experiences. Now you are overwhelmed by the waking state. Do not examine the dream and do not even think of the deep sleep. So you have to examine the deep sleep. You have to pay attention to the deep sleep. There is a meditation in which you meditate. To meditate means to pay attention. You can check Oxford Dictionary. The word has become something else now. It is not used in that sense. To meditate means close the door and sit in some corner and do some mischief in the mind. Some silly movement of the mind. That is how it became. Originally, that is not meditation. Maybe there is some value in it, I don't know. It depends upon what you are doing, how you are doing. Some value could be there. But then to meditate means to pay attention. You suppose just sitting here, you pay attention to your deep sleep. What happens? Your mind becomes silent. See the magic of it. See the miracle of it. And as you learn to pay attention to the unconscious, it starts flowing into the conscious, the waking state. Without any effort, effortlessly, the unconscious flows into the conscious. And a stage comes when there is a harmony between the unconscious and the conscious. And the division between the unconscious and the conscious vanishes. Because there is the separation of day and night on the surface of the earth, but there is none in the sun. Similarly, in the Atma, the inner light, there is nothing like unconscious-conscious separation. That separation is there only with reference to the mind. And when you start paying attention, the mind becomes silent, and gradually you will come to realize the division between unconscious and conscious is entirely mind-made, and it is entirely conditioned or contextual, not real. The real is that one light of awareness, like the sun, the inner light of awareness which pervades the unconscious, the conscious, which itself is divided into dream and waking. Therefore, that inner light pervades all the three states. And it illuminates all the three states. That alone is real. You come to that realization. Om Purnamada Purnamidam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.